ɛspənઃjoʊlə is a city primarily in Rio Arriba County, New Mexico, in the United States. A portion of the central and eastern section of the city is in Santa Fe County. Ɛspənઃjoʊlə was founded in 1880 as a railroad village and incorporated as a city in 1925. The city is situated in an area Juan de Oñate declared a capital for Spain in 1598. Ɛspənঃjoʊlə has been called the first capital city in America. At the 2010 census, the city had a total population of 10,495. Ɛspənঃjoʊlə is within the Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Las Vegas combined statistical area. History. Etymology. Ɛspənঃjoʊlə was referred to as La Vega de los Vigiles before the presence of railroads. It is believed that the town that began as Ɛspənঃjoʊlə was named by railroad workers. At the time of railroad construction, a small restaurant in the area was nicknamed La Ɛspənઃjoʊlə. This was because of the large presence of Spanish women in the area. The name became official by 1900 and Ɛspənঃjoʊlə became a small railroad town. Before the railroads, this is where Spanish and Native American people had settled for hundreds of years, making a living from farming along the Rio Grande. Early settlers. The Ɛspənঃjoʊlə area is also known as the first European-founded capital of the New World. The region was explored in 1598 by Don Juan de Oñate. He declared the area a capital for Spain, the area of Don Diego de Vargas' new villa at Santa Cruz. Oñate arrived in the Ɛspənঃjoʊlə area on July 11, 1598, at the confluence of the Chama River and the Rio Grande, where he established a camp at a place then called Yunque. He created a Spanish settlement in an area already inhabited by the indigenous descendants of the Anasazi Railroad era prior to the arrival of the narrow-gauge Denver and Rio Grande Western Railroad in 1880. The hamlet on the west side of the Rio Grande was known as La Vega de los Vigiles in reference to the Vigil family who initially settled that area. The earliest document found indicates that La Vega de los Vigiles had been populated by 1751, over 100 years before the Chile line's arrival. With the coming of the railroad, the name of the hamlet was changed to Ɛspənঃjoʊlə. The Chile line ran predominantly through the Rocky Mountain region and announced a route extension of its narrow gauge into northern New Mexico. The line was built along the Rio Grande, and later was known as the Chile line. The route would extend into what today is the downtown Ɛspənঃjoʊlə area, and the railroad began selling lots in the area. Anglo merchants, mountain men, and settlers slowly filtered into Ɛspənঃjoʊlə. Frank Bond and his brother George, who were Canadian immigrants, would later arrive in the city. Together they established the state's largest mercantile and a multi-million-dollar wool empire. With them came economic growth and prominence. Ɛspənঃjoʊlə was the headquarters for all the Bond family interests, which included over 12 businesses across New Mexico. Many residents of the nearby town of Santa Fe were not happy with the decision and failure of connection of the railroad, prompting protests. The Ɛspənঃjoʊlə station, however, included an engine facility station along with a roundhouse and turntable so it could service the locomotives. The facilities were built but torn down and no longer in use. After 6 years, plans from the town had changed. The railroad would later reach Santa Fe to connect with the Atchison, Topeka and Santa Fe Railway in late 1887. Frank R. Frankenberger, a businessman born in Fort Scott, Kansas, was the first elected mayor. He was elected in 1923. The first mayor who was chosen in popularity was Frank Bond. In 1907, in 1925 Ɛspənঃjoʊlə was incorporated as a city. As the population rose, there was a high demand for public education in the city. Española High School was established. It would be the largest school in the area for decades. The first high school in the area, however, was Santa Cruz High School, 2 miles away from downtown Española. It opened in 1906 in the historic Santa Cruz area. Both high schools are no longer in existence after a merger of school districts in 1975. The existence of the railroad began to dissipate as minimal passenger traffic and low shipments forced the railroad to close in the early 1940s. Many locals would become unemployed and would follow the railroad to Santa Fe, Albuquerque, and central Colorado for jobs. Española's population would fall dramatically and many homes in the downtown became abandoned. Most of the locals who remained would turn to farming as a way of life. Many people saw Española as another failed railroad town. The city removed the railroad tracks and the train depot in the 1960s, and the railroads completely vanished. Post-railroad in the 1980s, many historical buildings and homes of historical significance were torn down for urban renewal. Española followed many other New Mexico cities in this trend, but in Española it failed. More modern business began to move into town, but the growth of Española had now expanded east across the Rio Grande. Although several buildings of historical significance remain in downtown Española, many are unused or abandoned. Strip malls became visible in Española, the first being the Big Rock Shopping Center, founded by oil tycoon Roy Honstein. With the beginnings of Manhattan Project in nearby Los Alamos, many locals would find jobs at the Los Alamos National Laboratory, which would later employ nearly 9% of Española's population. In the 1990s, a controversial plan to build a plaza and mission church where many historic buildings once stood was up for consideration. The city agreed to the plan, and locals supported the plaza. Although a plaza never existed in Española before the railroads, it was built to pay tribute to the Spanish culture in the area. Recent history. In 1998, Española celebrated the 400th anniversary of the colonization by the Spanish and the founding of the first permanent European colony in North America. The event was celebratory for some and controversial for others. On September 18, 2008, then-Sen. Barack Obama, the Democratic nominee for President of the United States, visited Española for a rally at the city's new plaza in the Main Street district. Nearly 10,000 people packed the plaza. Geography. Española is located at 36.00194 degrees north, 106.06472 degrees west, 36.00194 minus 106.06472. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city has a total area of 21.9 square kilometers, with 21.7 square kilometers land and 0.2 square kilometers water, for a total of 0.83%. Española lies at an elevation of around 5,595 feet with much variance. It is in a valley nestled between the Jemez and Sangre de Cristo mountain ranges, and the meeting point of three rivers, the Rio Grande, the Rio Chama, and the Rio Santa Cruz. Climate. July is the warmest month in Española, with an average high of 91 degrees Fahrenheit. The highest recorded temperature was 107 degrees Fahrenheit in 2003. The average coolest month is January at 45 degrees Fahrenheit. The lowest recorded temperature was -38 degrees Fahrenheit in 1971. The maximum average precipitation occurs in August with an average of 1.90 inches. air quality. According to an annual report by the American Lung Association, the Santa Fe.Española CSA has the cleanest ozone layer in the country, cleanest area in the country for 24-hour particle pollution, and cleanest area in the country for annual particle pollution. Demographics. 2000 census. At the census of 2000, there were 9,688 people, 5,751 households, and 4,569 families residing in the city. The population density was 1,155.4 people per square mile. There were 5,107 housing units at an average density of 189.2 per square kilometers. The racial makeup of the city was 67.55% white, 0.58% African American, 2.86% Native American, 0.14% Asian, 0.06% Pacific Islander, 25.56% from other races, and 3.25% from two or more races. 84.38% of the population were Hispanic or Latino of any race. There were 5,751 households, of which 35.6% had children under the age of 18 living with them. 42.5% were married couples living together. 18.5% had a female householder with no husband present, and 31.5% were non-families. 26.2% of all households were made up of single individuals, and 9.7% had someone living alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.56 and the average family size was 3.08. In the city, the population was spread out, with 27.8% under the age of 18, 9.7% from 18 to 24, 28.1% from 25 to 44, 22.1% from 45 to 64, and 12.3% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 34 years. For every 100 females there were 95.3 males. For every 100 females aged 18 and over, there were 94.6 males. The median income for a household in the city was $27,144, and the median income for a family was $32,255. Males had a median income of $25,558 versus $23,177 for females. The per capita income for the city was $14,303. 21.6% of the population and 16.5% of families were below the poverty line. Out of the total population, 28.4% of those under the age of 18 and 15.1% of those 65 and older were living below the poverty line. 2010 census. As of the census of 2010, there were 10,495 people, 5,897 households, and 4,690 families residing in the city. The racial makeup of the city was 9.5% white, 0.7% black or African American, 1.9% Native American, 1.2% Asian, 0.8% from other races, 0.4% multiracial. 85.0% of the population were Hispanics or Latinos. Economy. The Los Alamos National Laboratory in Los Alamos is the largest employer in Española. It accounts for over 12% employment of residents. The education sector is the second largest employer. The Española Public Schools is the 16th largest school district in New Mexico. Recently, Northern New Mexico College has expanded its degree programs and made massive improvements to its campus, adding a new library and a new school of education. Larger local businesses include ACAL Securities Inc., a security company that employs over 500 people. Española has seen much commercial development on Riverside Drive, the city's secondary main road. Retail and eatery chains such as Lowe's, Chili's and GameStop are anchors of a massive shopping square located next to Walmart, which came into the city in 1999. Many other stores such as CVS, Pharmacy and PetSense have recently added locations in Española. Arts and culture, immigrant culture. There has been a steady influx of undocumented immigration to the valley for the last decade, which has significantly increased the visibility and influence in the area. Española is also home to the largest community of ethnically diverse Sikhs in the world. While most Sikhs descend from the Punjab region of India, the Sikhs in Española come from all over the world. Plaza de Española. The fountain at Plaza de Española was designed as a replica of the Alhambra. Telecommunications. Satview Broadband, headquartered in Reno, is the local cable television company. Activities. Española's restaurants and convenience stores are popular with travelers between Santa Fe and northern communities, as well as with local people. The local fiestas are held in the summer and include live New Mexico and or country music. Vendors are many locals. There are many locations near Española to do almost any outdoor activity such as hiking, biking, and river sports like rafting and kayaking. Nearby winter sports include skiing and snowboarding. Parks and recreation. Recreational facilities: Penny Roybal Garcia Aquatic Center, Richard L. Lucero Recreation Center. Major community parks: Plaza de Española Park, Vietnam Veterans Memorial Park, Ranchitos Park, Valdez Park. Golf courses: Black Mesa Golf Course. Government. The city of Española is run by a mayor-council government system under strong mayor form. The mayor and 8-member city councilors from the respected districts are elected to a 4-year term. Elections are constant every 2 years, with no term limits. The mayor appoints a city manager who supervises department heads, prepares the budget, and coordinates departments. Every year, one council member is elected by majority in the council to mayor pro tempore, usually a member from the party that is in control of the council. The mayor can approve or veto any decision made by the council. However, the council can override the mayor's veto with a 5 out of 8-member vote. Elected officials: list of mayor's 4-year terms following the 1974 municipal election. All city officials were elected to a 4-year term with a continued no restriction on terms. Prior office holders were elected to 2-year terms with no term limits. Since the term of Diego Salazar as mayor from 1932 to 1948, no mayor has served more than 8 consecutive years in office. Education. Public schools. The city of Española is a part of the Española Public Schools District, with 6 of its 14 schools being located within the city. High schools: Española Valley High School. Middle schools: Carlos F. Vigil Middle School. Elementary schools: Eutimio Tim Salazar III, Fairview Elementary. James H. Rodriguez, Española Elementary. Tony E. Quintana, Sombrillo Elementary. Kindergartens: Los Niños Kindergarten Center. Charter schools: McCurdy High School. Carinos de los Niños Charter School. Private schools: Holy Cross Catholic School, Victory Faith Christian Academy. Colleges: Northern New Mexico College, New Mexico Highlands University Española Branch. Library: Española Public Library is located inside the Richard Lucero Center at 313 North Paseo de Oñate. Its collection is about 50,000 items. Notable people: Debbie Rodler, New Mexico State Legislator, was born in Española. Scott Tipton, member of the U.S. House of Representatives from Colorado's 3rd District, was born in Española.